In this video, I'll explain how to set up the smart Endzone camera hardware for football. First, let's look at an overview of the full 3-point network, just as you'd be setting it up on game night. There are 3 stations: Pressbox, Sideline, and Endzone, with a combined 5 antennas in total. The Pressbox kit is the master station that creates your network. Without the Pressbox router, the system will not work at all. We recommend powering up these components first. Plug in the router, an optional edge box if you have one, using the power strip in the kit and its adjoining cords. The edge box Ethernet cable is probably already connected to the router. If it isn't, make sure that it's connected. Connect the HDMI cable from your camera's HDMI out to the Connect Camera port in the orange edge box. Next is the Pressbox network equipment. Remove the tripod stand, Pressbox bridge antenna, and the Pressbox iPad antenna from the network bag. Then, remove the small antenna ears found in the inside zipper pocket. Screw the ears into the iPad antenna and position them at a 45-degree angle. After all of this, we plug in the Pressbox bridge antenna as well as the Pressbox iPad antenna into the router. Make sure that the Pressbox iPad antenna is upright somewhere in the Pressbox or wherever your iPads in the Pressbox are going to be. Please note that all of your iPads in the Pressbox must be in the same room or vicinity as the iPad antenna. This includes the iPad you'll be using to control the smart camera, which must be in the Pressbox, not on the sideline. Also note that it's highly recommended that you use whichever iPad is your newest, most powerful iPad as the control iPad to control the Endzone camera. Before we move on, we can first test that your network and edge box are working. On your iPad, go to Settings and find the Pressbox Wi-Fi. Connect using the password that can be found on the inside of the top of your Pressbox kit hard case. Next, open the SportScope app and go to the Cameras page. If you have an edge box, you should see your Pressbox camera status say Ready. This is what your kit will look like when it's done. It's important that the Pressbox bridge antenna is angled down and pointed in between where your Sideline and Endzone bridge antennas will be set up. This antenna will talk with both antennas on the ground at the same time, so we'll want to shoot the gap between where they're going to be. In this example, it should be pointed between the 25-yard line on the home side and the closer hash behind the end zone. This also means that we'll want the bridge antenna to be as free of obstructions as possible. Making sure you have an open, clear shot between all 3 bridge antennas is extremely crucial. Failure to do so may result in poor system performance. Next, let's move on to setting up the Endzone kit. If you have a 30-foot tower, make sure the 4 locking legs are fully extended and locked. If you have the 20-foot tower, make sure that the bottom stabilizer is down, not up, and that the legs are fully extended and locked via the mast knobs. Next, mount the head to the top of the tower by rotating the head 360 degrees around the thread. Now turn the Sony camera on and connect it to the battery. There are 3 types of smart camera head battery solutions. For our most up-to-date model, connect the USB extension cord from the camera's handle strap USB connector to the USB port on the battery, labeled Camera in white. Next, connect the HDMI cable from the camera into the port labeled Connect Camera on the left side of the head. The camera should be facing the front Velcro battery. Do not connect the camera to the HDMI out port on the right. Then, connect the motor power cable, color-coded yellow, into the motor port on your battery. The zoom cable should already be plugged into the Sony camera, but if for some reason it isn't, go ahead and do this next. Next, we set up our Endzone network. Attach the round Endzone bridge antenna to the tower as high up on the leg as you can, and point it upward directly at the Pressbox antenna. Make sure there are no obstructions and that the angle is correct. Next, connect the white PoE device to the Endzone network battery and plug both the blue and the black Ethernet cables into the PoE device. You can now connect the other end of the long blue Ethernet cable to the port on the bottom of the head. Now, this is extremely important. You must use strain relief on the long blue Ethernet cord. It protects the Ethernet port in the bottom of the head from being damaged. Failure to use strain relief properly will almost certainly result in eventual damage to the port. After this is connected, give the cable a gentle tug to make sure all of the weight is on the clip and not on the port. If you haven't already connected it, make sure the bottom end of the blue Ethernet cord is plugged into the PoE device. Now, on the network battery, flip the AC power switch to on in order to supply power to the network. Finally, connect the computer power cable, color-coded in blue, to the battery port labeled Power or Computer in blue. It's important to plug the computer cord in last in order to avoid potential zoom problems. If you do it this way, then your zoom should work every time. You may also need to press the button on your smart camera head battery in order to make sure that it's delivering power. You should see 4 blue lights come on. Verify that the bridge antenna has linked to the Pressbox bridge. You should see 6 lights in total: the power light, the main light flashing, and then the 4 link lights. If you don't see all 4 link lights, then you most likely need to readjust the angle of the bridge. Before raising the Endzone tower, we recommend setting up the Sideline kit and testing the system. You'll want to set up your Sideline equipment on roughly the 25-yard line closest to your Endzone. First, you'll remove the Sideline tripod from the network bag. The tripod should have a round bridge antenna, as well as an iPad antenna affixed to it. Set the tripod up so that the round bridge antenna is pointed up at the Pressbox bridge antenna. Next, attach the rectangular booster to the Sideline iPad antenna with its 2 short cables. Then, ensure that the rectangular booster is pointed down the sideline, parallel with the field. This booster connects to the coach's iPads on the sideline, so make sure it's unobstructed by bleachers, coolers, fences, and that it's generally above where players' heads are going to be. Next, open up your Sideline kit hard case. Inside, you'll see a network battery, as well as a switch, which looks like a router. Plug both of the black antenna cables into the switch. Next, plug in the switch first and flip the network battery's power to on. Make sure to attach the Sideline kit hard case to the base of the tripod to ensure that it won't tip over. Extend the tripod up as high as possible. Make sure to point the round bridge antenna up the Pressbox bridge antenna and to point the rectangular booster down the sideline to where the iPads will be. After a few minutes, the Sideline bridge will link up to the Pressbox bridge, and you should see 6 blue lights on the side in total. Now that the hardware is all connected, it's best to temporarily connect an iPad to the Sideline network in front of the booster antenna and test the control functions of the Endzone camera. Go into Settings and connect to the SportScope Sideline Wi-Fi. The password will be in the Sideline case and is identical to the Pressbox password. Once connected, navigate to the SportScope app. Check your cameras from the Cameras page to ensure that they both say Ready. If you don't have a Pressbox angle edge box, then you'll only see the Endzone. You can see that the Endzone angle is displaying a live video, and the Pressbox is not. This is normal. On the home page, you'll either see the most recent game or the demo game. Note that you cannot do anything from the demo game. In order to control the system, you must create a new game or use an existing created game. Go to Games and select New in order to start a new game. Put in your team's name as well as the opponent's name. Make sure that both cameras say Ready and are both highlighted in white. Then you can start the game. Next, make sure that the Endzone is in the center of your home screen. If it's not, then tap the box labeled Endzone in the corner to bring it to the center. Then bring the controls up on the right-hand side to start the live feed of the Endzone angle. Once an Endzone live feed is established, test its functionality by placing your fingers on the screen to ensure pan, tilt, and zoom are all working. Record a few test clips to make sure that the replay is working correctly. You'll see the clips appear at the bottom of the page. For a 2-angle system, you can switch between the replay for each angle using the picture-in-picture corner window. Make sure you close the control bar for any iPads that are going to remain on the sideline. Only the control iPad, which should be in the Pressbox, should have the controls visible. If the tests were successful, you can now raise the Endzone tower. Keep one hand in contact with the tower stages at all times. Make sure the Ethernet cord is secured to the pole with a large carabiner clip that is provided. Raise one section at a time and lock it in place before moving on to the next. Return to the Pressbox and the Control iPad. If you brought the Control iPad to the Sideline for testing, you may want to go to the Wi-Fi settings and forget the Sideline network to make sure that the operator stays on the correct Pressbox Wi-Fi network. Once the game is over, always scroll through all the replay clips for both angles and tap the blue download arrows if there are any. Be sure to alternate from Endzone to Pressbox or vice versa after scrolling down through all the thumbnails, checking for plays that need to be downloaded. This will download any plays that might not have gotten downloaded during the game. You only need to do this on the iPad you're going to upload the plays from, but do this before disconnecting any equipment so that all plays are synced and you don't have to set up the equipment again later to obtain missing clips. Thank you for watching this instructional video and for choosing SportScope for all of your Endzone replay needs.